Blink Stalkers, because of mutas. If you get anything else in the beginning, it's kind of slows you just got nothing for the mutas. Yeah, they got air for the mutas or Blink Stalkers, and then you can go into another transition.
수정탑이 공격받고 있습니다.
So what happened? All right. So this one's kind of a little complicated. It's like a generation of cannon rushing evolved from experiences, different types of cannon rushes. It's like the basics. You know, you kind of do the basic cannon rush. You're like, oh, okay, cool, I'm a cannon rusher. Then you start learning that there's more to it than just, you know, the basic cannon rush. Then you start learning how to use your opponent's buildings to apply your cannon rushes with, using them as walls, or, you know, as well, or, you know, mineral line cannon rush, natural to mineral to the main cannon rush. You start learning all those, and then you learn the, you know, the cannon rush versus cannon rush. And there's a lot of things you kind of, you know, details. As a cannon rusher, if someone's cannon rushing, typically the pylon and the forge are going to be right here. Pylon, forge, that's where they always usually do it. If not, sometimes it's pylon, forge back here, and that's because they're trying to keep the person from seeing it right away, right? Because the probe comes in, and or whatever, your opponent comes in and scouts and says, oh, let me click on that, clicks on it, says forge, boom, I'm getting cannon rush. So then they'll have their defenses. So that's why people put their forge back here. But eventually, from here to here, even though time is important, that's what they're trying to get. Any little bit of time for them to go up and take the time to find out, that gives them just a little bit more time to cannon rush. So first it's right here. Then eventually you learn to put it away, right? Then when they scout, the next thing, which is what I do after this stage, is put a pylon here and make a forge back here where they can't see, because they're not going to be able to look for, they're going to look for a forge, a gateway, something, right? They need information. It's gonna what is it? A proxy rush? Is a 4-gate? Because when it comes to a PvP, a 4-gate is usually the other thing that happens. Someone's 4-gating you, which is putting a pylon close by, making 4-gate, gateways, and just bombarding you with zealots. The 4-gate proxy. Now a good player comes out and scouts, right? They go up and scout. So you identify early enough that something weird is happening. You go up in there, you see nothing. You go up there, you see nothing. Maybe he's 4-gate rushing me. That's the thing. I don't see a forge. So that's kind of like some backstory before you see this, because it gets complicated. Let's see. So what we do here is we get our pylon here, right? And we use this probe to go all the way around so that we can end up here. Because what we're trying to do is hide from the probe that scouts, which is this guy right here, the opponent. The opponent's gonna usually have a standard scout, which is either gonna be a gateway scout or a pylon scout. The pylon scout is the fastest way to identify that there's a cannon rush or not, because you're quicker. The gateway scout is you're trying to get just a little bit more minerals before you send it out, and so you're being a little more conservative, and then hope that by the time you get there you're gonna notice what's going on. I always recommend the pylon scout because you'll be able to see for sure and react faster. Even the little bit of difference of how much mineral that probe will get between a pylon to a gateway scout is very minuscule to the things that you haven't learned in StarCraft that make you good. So it's like you're not missing much. It's better to go for a pylon scout. Get that information, especially the lower levels end up having more cheese than the higher levels because they play standard as you go up the ranks. You'll have more success identifying with the pylon scout information. So this Protoss is going for a pylon scout, and so what I do is the pylon goes over here and the probe goes around. During that time, what I do is I get a gas, make the gas, right click it, grab 2 probes, right click it on a mineral to line them up, and then right click them again. So now that I'm lined up, I grab them, right click to the mineral right here, and then they take off together by themselves. They look the same. They look like one, and that's so that you can trick the opponent thinking, hey, you're one of us. Sounds good. It's only one. But in reality, there's 2 in there. And so now my opponent's going to come in and look for me, right? He checks up here, no forge, no pylon. He goes around. He doesn't see the forge or the pylon. What does he see though? What does he see? He sees gas. He sees gas. And he sees me mining from gas. So he doesn't have information, but he has information. You mine gas early on too, because you have a gateway and you're gonna make a gas unit, stalker, void raid, right? Something. So the moment you see a gas geyser, you automatically think gateway. In your head, you see gas geyser, it's a gateway, it's not a forge. Who does gas? Who mines gas in the beginning of the game and it's cannon rushing? It doesn't make no sense. And so, but because I don't have any information that it's a forge, I don't see a cannon rush, it's no forge. I see a gas. Ain't nobody do no gas for cannon rush, but if I don't even see the forge, where's the cannon rush? So it's a gas gateway. Duh. You're like, I'll steal his gas. He's like, I'll steal his gas. I'm the tricky one. And you let your guard down, And so I hunt him down because I want to distract them. There's a cannon rush thing. You know, here's a tip from my experience. Whenever you're cannon rushing and the probe comes in to scout you, always send that probe after it, especially if you're cannon rushing, because that probe usually goes home, and you might need that probe because your other probes died. You know, probe 1, probe 2 died. This is probe 3. Always try to find ways to find how should I send probe 3, and this was the most natural way for me to send probe 3, is that this probe always follows the scout probe, and that probe eventually will lead up back home because he's too tired of getting chased around. And if you can't micro the probe everywhere while doing what he's doing, this probe's gonna get him. So sometimes, and what I do is you go for him, and then what I didn't do here, rally point to the destination afterwards. That way, if he kills it, you go straight over here anyways, and a little detour. But that's usually my third probe. So now we're going in here, right? And so there's gateways at the bottom. I'm a random player, and this build that I did right here, I designed it because I'm a random player. A random player has to deal with everybody scouting you. Everybody's scouting you as a random player. They're like, oh, I don't know what race he is. I need to find out. He don't tell me, that little bastard. And so, what up, Sneaks? Little bastard don't tell me his race. I gotta go find out. So they send an early worker, and they usually tell if I'm cannon rushing or not, because they always scout, you know. And that's the reason why I started hiding the forge, the pylon and the forge. I started hiding it because as a random player, they're gonna find you. As a Protoss, if you're a Protoss player, they're like, well, he's a Protoss player. He's probably playing standard. That's what they do, right? It's probably playing standard, so that's the odds. The high odds is that they're playing standard, so I don't have to go scout yet. You know, he's gonna get an expo and all that stuff. So they fill in their own blanks, but they ain't got no blanks. It's all blank when it comes to a random player, so they gotta go scout. I have to end up hiding the forge, and then because of that, Protoss ends up going, well, if it's Terran, where do I put my first pylon? If it's Terran, I can deal with it at the bottom. But if it's Zerg, I have to put it at the bottom. If it's Protoss, I could deal with it either bottom or top, more or less. Not that I want the bottom, I'd rather have the top part. But if it's Zerg, I need to have the pylon at the bottom, you know? And so that's what ends up happening. I end up dealing with Protosses that take me as a Zerg player firsthand until they scout and find out what I really am. In the beginning, you are the Zerg. And so they put pylons here, and so as a cannon rusher sending one probe, you can't send probes through here and not get caught. You're gonna get caught. They're gonna see you, you know. So I ended up trying to figure out what ways I can cannon rush. And so because they're here, I could do the pull right here, bam. And so he's looking for the probe, still trying to get information, right? Doesn't have information. Let's see what he saw. This is what he saw. This is his vision right here. His gas that he stole, ha ha ha, and just this, and getting chased. Where's he going? Back home. Who's chasing him? My third probe. Go get him. Get him. So here goes this probe. Meanwhile, the other one comes over here in the chateaus. And so here we have the standard probe. If it's a gateway play and that's just a gas, it's probably a proxy. If it's a proxy, then yeah, stealing my nexus, making sure I don't take a fast expand, means that he might be able to take his fast expand, and then he's gonna be ahead of me. So that makes sense in his eyes. Like, shit, now I can't get my fast nexus. You're probably gonna take the nexus. Still not sure what it is, but I'm assuming he probably thinking it's a proxy, maybe a depth build. Now I make the pylon and the cannon and then the gateway, because the gateway I need a transition to. So it's better to get the gateway right after the first cannon and then make your cannons, because if you need to get into cybernetics core, build it and then you transition. This would probably be in the butt, so I'd probably make a zealot, and then with the zealot I'd recall it back home and kill the gas geyser, so I don't have to make a cannon or pylon and all that stuff. So, you know, different ways to solve that little riddle. Yeah, and then right here I was really thinking about, should I make a cannon right here, but then I was like, I'd rather spend it all right here, because, you know, as much as I'm tempted, I was tempted, but I was like, nah, stick to the game plan. Let's put it all right here. And this is pretty much just, you want to kill the Nexus. That's all you want to do. You make enough to just go straight for the Nexus and kill it, because usually they'll make stalkers eventually, and those stalkers could try to, you know, deal with your plan if you're trying to like get too close to the probes. So I built 3 just to knock it out quick, so that they don't mind longer. Do it. Got him.
계속하세요. 네. 건설로봇 준비 완료. 예. 안 좋은 일인가요? 건설로봇 준비 완료. 무슨 일이죠? 에이! 건설로봇 준비 완료. 후방 지원 대기 중. 알겠습니다. 일대장의 건설로봇 준비 완료. 네네. 예. 뭔일 있어요?
Hold on, goofed a little bit.
건설로봇 준비 완료.
I gotta put all the minerals in next time quicker.
건설로봇 준비 완료. 후방 지원 대기 중. 에이! 건설로봇 준비 완료. 네. 안 좋은 일인가요? 건설로봇 준비 완료. 뭔일 있어요? 라자. 마음대로 하세요. 무슨 일이죠? 건설로봇 준비 완료. 계속하세요. 에이, 깜짝이야. 야, 야근이다. 건설로봇 준비 완료. 뭔일 있어? 네. 안 좋은 일인가요? 계속하세요. 가자. 후방 지원 대기 중. 무슨 일이죠?
Cannon rush me?
네, 계속하세요. 예, 알았다고요. 안 좋은 일인가요? 뭔 일 있어요? 예? 무슨 일이죠? 계속하세요. 건설로봇 준비 완료. 네. 예. 일대. 건설로봇 준비 완료. 네네. 에이, 깜짝이야. 건설로봇 준비 완료. 무슨 일? 안 좋은 일인가요? 건설로봇 준비 완료.
What's your favorite unit to use as Protoss? The probe.
뭔 일 있어요? 후방 지원 대기 중. 건설로봇 준비 완료. 계속하세요. 뭐이? 후방 지원 대기 중. 안 좋은 일인가요? 무슨 일? 건설로봇 준비 완료. 에이, 깜짝이야. 네. 뭔일? 건설로봇 준비 완료. 아이씨고. 계속하세요. 예. 네. 안 좋은 일인가? 후방 지원 대기 중. 건설로봇 준비 완료.
Go ahead.
무슨 일이죠? 에이, 깜짝이야.
Okay.
예. 시키면 해야죠. 건설로봇 준비 완료. 네. 무슨 일이죠?
저승사자가 도착했다.
후방 지원 대기 중. 에이, 깜짝이야. 건설로봇 준비 완료.
도착했다. 뭐야? 그게 다냐? 오우 예, 좋아. 누구 하늘에서 죽음이 한번 해볼까? 괜찮군. 난 못하는 게 없지. 알아들었다. 좋다. 알았다. 간다고. 그렇고 말고. 물론이지. 간다. 간다니까. 좋다. 오우 예, 좋아. 물론이지. 괜찮군. 간다. 간다니까. 한번 해볼까? 알아들었다. 저승사자가 도착했다. 알았다. 간다고. 뭐야? 그게 다냐? 그렇고 말고. 왜? 말해봐라. 난 못하는 게 없지. 뭐야? 그게 다냐? 오우 예, 좋아. 난 못하는 게 사신이 두렵지 않나? 괜찮군. 한번 하늘에서 저승사자가 도착했다. 누굴 중요한 일인가? 알았다. 물론이지. 좋다.
건설로봇 준비 완료.
왜? 말해봐라. 중요한 일인가? 사신이 두렵지 않나?
건설로봇 준비 완료. 뭔 일 있어요? 네.
저승사자가 도착했다. 간다고. 그렇고 말고. 누굴 처리해줄까? 왜? 뭐 필요한 거라도 있나? 하늘에서 죽음이. 중요한 일인가? 좋다. 알았다. 괜찮군. 말해봐라. 저승사자가 도착했다.
사령부 업그레이드
Cannon rush me?
사신이
Get
두렵지
punished.
않나? 간다. 간다니까. 물론이지. 말해봐라. 알아들었다. 뭐야? 그게 다 다냐? 난 못하는 게 없지.
Yeah. So that's the weakness of Protoss. Um. So what you need to do is you need to have a pylon. I would say somewhere around here, right in the middle, so that you can make your cannon either right here or up here. I prefer like right here and right here. So you make your pylon right here so it can give you that range. That way the Reapers can't do anything in this area or this area. Now you do have to watch out for the gas. If you want the gas, you'd have to make your cannon like right here. So your pylon's right here. You make a cannon either outside this area, right, or right here. Right here would be really good, ideal, and the other one would be somewhere right here where you can deny this area from the Reapers. So the important part of what he wants to do is already incorrect. You build a pylon here, you make the cannon eventually here and here when you need to, and that's going to defend your gases and keep your probes from getting killed. Right here you can hit with the cannon if you need a probe, attack them, you know, make them get out of there until you get enough time. But that's what you got to do. Okay, so now because of that, I was actually going to do a different build. I was going to do a barracks reactor, which is really good to do sometimes because of this situation. But even if, as long as I have one barracks building Reapers, the only thing is, you know, you got to make sure your rally is in the right place so you don't lose your Reapers. You see how his pylon is at the front and he's going for a forge? That's already his mistake because it's not over here. So you can't make an instant cannon when he sees a Reaper come out. See right here is like comes over. And obviously has a cannon. I put the SCV over here to block this area so he can't build anything here to block me out. So then I go in underneath the cannon and then I go for the probe. Now that I got the probe and the cannon, I don't care about that pylon that I'm wasting. I'll kill it later. All I gotta do is wall this area because he might want to come in with the probe and try to make another wall or cannon sometimes. You know, you never know. Maybe a cannon was being placed right here and then eventually you'll be able to get a, you know, not that it's gonna do too much, but he's gonna annoy. So I blocked it right here with an engineering bay. And at first I wasn't gonna do anything with it, just to block it. Because the cannons, if you made more cannons eventually went up the ramp, I can cancel it. But then I said, you know what? By the time he wants to break the ramp, something's gonna come in. I'll put a PF just as a safety precaution. Now the Reaper's already moving out, and this Reaper's being made too. If he gets close with the cannons, I'll have a bigger cannon. So Reaper comes in. Surprisingly, see everything at the bottom. I spotted the cannon, so I know where that's at. I gotta go in and see what it looks like up top. I saw the pylon go up, so I knew he was in deep shit. Now he got me right here because I had him split. So I didn't micro him in the best way. So what I did is I have the next one hotkeyed so that it can go over to this area. That way it doesn't go over here and then come through here and get killed with the cannon. You get me? If you have the Reaper here, you use F2. The F2 will literally go over here, go down here. Oh, gets killed by the cannon, and you never get your Reaper. So I had to rally here, make them, and just make sure I don't have to wait for the Reaper to come in, and then I'll grab it. Now I'm also aware that there's another base over here. Now in a little bit I'll be able to deal with both, but I don't really anticipate much probes there. Maybe 1, 2. yeah, you just keep him off the minerals. He didn't expect anything because he wanted. He's like, nothing can come out of here. You know, he's put the 2 cannons. You can't come out. So I'll take the 2 bases, and then I'll just beat you in economy. But the Reaper could go out. Now he did want to put a cannon right here, right? He want to put a pylon and cannon, and then the Reaper can't come out. And that's pretty sneaky if he can achieve it. But he was trying to do it very secretive, where he was trying to deny the Reaper from coming out, and then I'm stuck. But there's another barracks outside of the map, so it would have worked. But then at the same time, it wouldn't have worked, because I still have another building inside, and then that SCV will be able to build a command center on this side, because he's gonna try to deny this from happening, so I won't slow it down. That's the game plan. Command center over here as a follow-up. And then deal with this afterwards, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is a distraction. I won't get distracted. I'll break it later, or I'll defend it later. First things first, Dude, I love how you take the time to explain the game sense and decisions in depth. Yeah, I try to. I do this for you guys. I kind of give you guys the. Oh, thank you. What? I appreciate it. Yeah. It means a lot. And yeah, if you guys ever want me to explain or commentate, a game that I played, let me know. I'm always, able to explain my thoughts, because that's what I do. I play in the game and I think about everything that game. There's a lot of experience that comes from my decisions. Tactical. But yeah, much love. Was it Macros Gaussum SE2? Macros Gaussum? Did I say it right? Thank you. Oh, I dropped something. Okay, so you have these 2 Reapers, right? That come in. And at this point, he's frustrated. He can't get anything. We already know there's no gas, so we're not gonna expect the Stargate out of nowhere. That his expo is at the bottom here, so it's not a hidden base. So everything's right there. It's pretty much, you can't mine, and I'm just making more units. I did get supply capped, and then I had to go back and make some supply. I believe that's when I also made the command center. So, but I got supply capped. I'm like, shit, right here at 29 and 31. So I made a command center, yeah, and then I think I made a supply depot, turn some supply depots. No, I made a command center. Oh my goodness. The command center gives you supply. It just takes forever to do it. But I was busy doing the Reaper part, so I was like, I'm not gonna let his ass up. As long as I'm not in a rush, because he's not able to mine. So as long as I'm good there, I could take a little bit of sacrifice. But I did make sure my command center was up. That was the next thing that I needed to make sure is on point. So that was my priority. Jumped in real quick and then came back. You don't want to leave your Reapers unattended for too long, because it's when you lose it. When you're not attending them, you're losing. And so I have a tendency of just going in, going out real quick. Good supply block. Yeah, the good old my old faithful supply block. I tell you, never disappoints. Always there for me. Always there for me. Like, yeah, I have to remember. I have to constantly remember supply look to the right once in a while. I try to remember the times and situations that get supply blocked, so eventually I naturally know to make supply here, to make supply there. You know, I'm learning that with Zerg, with the overlords, making overlords at certain times, and you know, I'm trying to beat myself, not beat myself, but I'm trying to beat my what I've been doing my last games by making some more than the last game. Like, all right, this time I got a couple spots that I knew I made overlords before I needed an army. You know, I knew I injected before I needed it. You know, all that stuff, so I could just tell that I'm doing it right. Because it's all about improving. You know, take the steps.